morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning where we are grumpy, as always. Grumpy in more ways than one. Not only it's a Monday. I mean, actually, a lot of people are off. So I know you resent that, Mitush, as somebody who has to work to.
Hello? You're muted. I haven't heard anything.
Okay, there we go. You can hear now, though, can't you?
Yeah, just go back from the top.
Back, you didn't hear any of this? None of this?
Well, I heard the last thing that I heard was that other people are not working.
Yes, so I know you take that kind of personally because you're somebody who has to work to have Mondays off.
Yeah, bastards. I pretty much just get annoyed because the lines are a little bit longer anywhere I need to go, and by longer I mean like an extra 2 or 3 people. Like honestly, I don't think it really means much. But I always hear, "Oh, it's so nice to have Mondays off," and I just have to just chuckle to myself and go, "Yeah, it is. It is very nice."
Yeah, I know. Like when I used back in the retail days, I would have Tuesday or Thursday off. Like every other week, it would switch. And yes, like to go to places, Tuesday or Thursday would be like good days to go take care of shits or go places because everybody else would be at work. Sir Z is here. Alan, good morning, gentlemen. Ryan is here, enjoying the show while revising my resume. For those who do not know or follow Ryan, and why wouldn't you follow Ryan on social media? Actually, I can give you a bunch of reasons, but anyway, he is actually like he didn't get canned or something like that, but he did leave his current job and looking for something bigger and better. So there goes our brewery connection. So hopefully his new gig is in a brewery as well. Football Flashback is back. It has been a while. Yes, you should be ashamed. Wait, there's no way. Oh, well, that's not good. But no more betting, he says. But that will come. Yes, and
I bet he'll bet again.
Batush complaining about working on Columbus Day while his workers are cleaning out his pool and inside. Jeeves, is my bath ready? Yeah, I mean is it still Columbus Day, by the way? Famously known for not asking.
I think the movement towards National Indigenous Day has taken full effect. You're gonna have your traditionalists that will call it Columbus Day. I think, grand scheme of things, I think it's gonna probably be some of the least offensive kind of non-name changes if someone does say Columbus Day as opposed to National Indigenous Day, as opposed to other things. So yeah, I think like at our work, it's National Indigenous Day, and I know at like some banks around here, some credit unions, it's National Indigenous Day. But yeah, I don't think it's not officially been changed. I don't know. Maybe it has been. I haven't been paying attention.
I know Google is playing both sides. It says, when you look at a Google calendar, it says Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day.
So, we can't be wrong.
Yeah. So we'll go both ways. Yes, good old Columbus. Thanks for the smallpox, Columbus.
Hey, he eradicated people to be able to give others land.
Something along those lines, he said, yes, after he was like, which way to India? Football Flashback says, have a feeling score a free kick 1 to 18 odds. Another good weekend in betting, by the way. So football.
Hold on, let me just look at that number and tell you, Football Flashback, those aren't good odds. I don't care what your financial situation is.
Not good for
That's not good
out there, right?
There's a reason why it's 1 in 18.
Why?
It's not probable. It's the odds are so low.
See, 18 I feel like is really low for something that out there. I mean, how many free kick goals does he score a season that the odds would only I would expect it to be a lot more is what I'm saying. Like I'd expect it to be like 100 or something.
Well, there's only so much that the bookmakers can go because you can't do a ridiculous kind of 1 in 250 and potentially lose a lot of money in the books, if you will. But this is me saying this while I consistently every Sunday have a 16-leg parlay.
Yeah, like what is the odds on that?
What was the one that I just had? The odds on that yesterday's 16 leg parlay, and this is football flashback. I don't know, it might have a stroke if I list this here. Why isn't it? Technical difficulties, different from financial difficulties, which I also have. So the odds were plus 6,366,126. So it was a $5 bet for a $300,000 return.
What?
I do it every Sunday because you just never know.
I guess you just never know. So you pick every single NFL game, you said, right?
So what I do is I mix it between, you can pick touchdown scores, you can pick the spread, you can.
You're adding it like total everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got half of it right, 8 out of 16. So if I had just gotten those 8 right, I could have got a decent amount, but I would have had to pick the right 8. That's the problem, and that's why.
That's always seems to be the issue. Is right. Yeah. I mean, I don't like. I look at these bets now, and I'll like throw like $1 in some odd ones. There was like a 1 in 100 odd bet yesterday that every team. And I don't know. We didn't look at the afternoon games because Angie was too mad at Cleveland for not doing it in the morning games. But every team would have a passing touchdown was the bets. Oof. And it was giving like 1 to 100. That's why I feel like 18 is low, man. I wouldn't get suckered into that. But yes, Cleveland screwed us out of that. It was going like ridiculous. I didn't think it would even be close. Angie was really close to following it. But overall, good weekend in betting. Trent did get the free kick goal, by the way. I missed it, honestly. I saw it on Twitter afterwards. I watched maybe like the first 15, 20 minutes of that thing. Pretty much watched it till NFL started, and then we switched to the Red Zone channel kind of thing because it looked like it was going to be a bore fest. Yeah. It looked really similar to actually Turkey's game against Montenegro, where it was like a one-sided affair, and then Turkey didn't unlock till the 70th minute or so. But they're top of the group, so there's that. They're leading the group. They play Iceland today away. So they need at least a draw, I think, and then they play Wales at home to finish things off. Poland didn't look so hot when I looked at the score lines, right? Lost to Portugal at home. Did you enjoy that?
What is that over there?
Do you actually like watch the games or not?
Not anymore.
Okay.
So no, I was at work. I guess when they play Portugal, and they play Croatia tomorrow. And I think the last time they played Croatia, they did not play very well either. So I don't expect much from the team. I'm just not paying attention as is. I'm a terrible supporter of the national team, but that's just where we're at right now. I just don't have.
Do you follow the American national team or just old?
No. Yeah, I just right now I'm one of those like during tournaments kind of guys where I'll pay attention to highlights and I'll watch, like I'll go on Reddit and I'll see the top upvoted goals that have occurred over the last couple of days in qualifying. But unless Poland has a genuinely good team, I won't be paying attention until the actual tournaments. But once the tournament goes live, like I am the biggest Poland fan. So
here, let's talk about this. I was literally just telling you about this before we went on live on air. Roy Keane talking smack about. Oh, well, there you go. Even better. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. You give time to Trent because the decision making of quality passing is fantastic, but I can't believe how bad he is defensively, and against better teams he'll be punished. If you saw him the other night defending, it looked like he'd never played right back before. And yes, he said this on live on ITV, I think in like the post-match show and stuff like that. And there is ridiculous outrage for it. I guess my question is, why the outrage? I saw a few accounts post like he's won. Oh, Mateusz doesn't want to talk anything about the outrage. He's won everything under the sun and stuff like that, which I get, but he hasn't won those. But I mean, you can be a great player and have weaknesses, which I feel like, that's the case we have with Trent. His defending is poor. I mean, I don't understand why we kind of get, like I've said it. Well, I guess I get shit for it too when I say it, but I think he's being honest. If anybody can come out and say, no, Trent is a great defender, I'm sorry, but you just like biased. You're just biased in a very wrong way because he's not that good at defending. So I don't know about like never. I didn't watch the Greece game, so I have no idea. like how he performed that game or whatever. I know England lost, but I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. And obviously, after a loss, the criticism is going to be a bit more over the top, and you're going to get, maybe a little bit of like more of an extreme. So maybe that's where the extreme part is coming from, where like he looks like he'd never played the right back before. I mean, I assume you didn't watch that game either, Mateusz, against Greece, but I mean, can anyone? I mean, Sergi says everyone performed bad versus Greece. So I'm assuming, like, you get criticism for that. I'm sure he didn't look like he never played right back before, but I mean, he is not good at defending. Like, why are we kind of like people get like offended and try to defend him, but he's just is not. I think he's been better this year because I feel like he makes more of an effort to defend this year because he's not as bad as everybody makes it, maybe. So people are like over the top defending, but it's only because Roy Keane said this. I think if Carragher says this, people don't get as pissed because he's one of us saying it.
Yeah, and it's just I feel like Roy Keane he's one of those guys where a lot of people will get upset over what he says regardless. There was the whole Holland comment that he made about him being a League Two striker, but just able to finish, and that got a lot of people pretty upset too. So I think in general, because I didn't watch the game, but we know of Trent, watching him for the last 6-7 years, we know that he has those moments. He has moments 1v1 where he can defend really well. It's just that he switches off too much. He stays in towards the other side of the pitch mentally too much. So I also think he's just an easy scapegoat. He's been an easy scapegoat for the national team for the last 2 years. You've got a lot of the rumors with Madrid swirling around. I think it's just an easy thing to say right now if you're Roy Keane. What I don't necessarily understand, I kind of agree with you, is not really understanding as much of the defending of Trent when these same people have probably slammed him for his defending over the last several years too. So I don't know. It's a weird one. We've always talked about the trade-offs that you get. You have to sacrifice some things with them to benefit from the other things. And there are many players in the world that do the same thing. It's very rare to have a totally complete, perfect footballer on both sides. So, you take what you can get, and then you try to balance the negatives.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those where, like, I can tell my brother he's an idiot, but you can't tell my brother he's an idiot, kind of an ordeal. It's, like, we're just getting offended because it is Roy Keane saying it. But, I mean, there is a truth to it. Like I say, it's probably taken to the extreme. And I didn't watch the game. If he looked that bad, I mean, I would assume nobody in England looked that great if they lost to Greece at home, kind of a deal. But it is partially, sadly, true. So Z says, Trent's putting himself in the shot window for Madrid. That's why defensively he's doing better this season. I don't know. I don't see. That's like kind of like harsh on Trent too, I think, because I honestly feel like I blame Pep. Like while he's trashing Leipzig over there, I blame Pep for like bumping him up. And maybe it was a need at the time. We needed something creative coming out of midfield because everybody else was more like a blue collar midfielder and stuff like that. But man, like at the end of the day, if he stayed at right back, he was, I mean, even when he was coming up, I guess maybe at the time we said, Mateusz, he's young, he's going to get better and stuff like that. Oh, wait, Brian is with us. Okay, yeah, if you did not, I did not get to watch it actually, because that's why I wasn't on it. I was meant to be on the show with the Sideline Football Show. And they had like a quiz as well as like some like points, like the debate and stuff like that, like a Liverpool debate. And yeah, I was going to make it, but we went to actually Milwaukee with the Jazz. So Gally kind of like represented it. Apparently not very well because he lost in the quiz.
It's the last time we send him.
But yeah, welcome aboard, Brian. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, if you're watching us, like, subscribe, do all those things, press all those buttons down there, except the one that's thumbs down. Almost at 1,000. We're approaching rapidly. Well, not rapidly, but we're approaching it. So slowly but surely. But yeah, that was probably one of the few things about Trent. Ryan says, I feel like Trent is okay one-on-one, but losing player. I agree to this for the most part. I mean, this is what he might be like, Roy Keane might be referring to. There are times where he has help inside, and he will still let the guy go outside and beat him with his speed, which to me is criminal. Because as a center back, if I'm sliding over to give you a hand, or if I'm a midfielder, like, okay, like I got this. So now we forced him out. So you should be able to trap him or have him force him to go back at the least. And sometimes he still gets beat. But yes, Ryan says I did say okay. I mean, otherwise, I don't think his defending has itself 1v1 and stuff like that was not like has not like diminished or anything like that. It's about the same.
Yeah, it's been the same for many years, and you can just see from him just behaviorally when he's really in it and when he's not in it. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we see those changes in him too often, and when he's really into the game and when he's not. And that's what makes those glaring defects sometimes even brighter, because we know that he was capable of this and that, but because of what his attitude is like right now, what his body language is like right now, he didn't have to let that go the way it did. But because he did, now we can see, and we then criticize it a bit more, because we know that he's better than that. I feel like the thing that we get most frustrated about is that we feel like he could be even better, and if it's consistent, then you could really talk about him being not just one of the best right backs in the world, but potentially one of the best players in the world. If he's consistently 1v1 great, if he's not letting guys go by him, and he has the touch that he has, and the creativity that he has, and the balls that he plays, he's in talks about being one of the best all around in the world. But I think that's where we get so frustrated, because we feel like he has that potential, and maybe it's unfair that we should expect so much all the time. But maybe that's the best way to go about it, is just believing that he can be.
Yeah, I mean, so this says Trent doing his defensive duties this season has allowed Ibu to be much better this season. No, I mean, that's the problem, right? The right center back. And here's the thing, like, people always like come to the defense and like, that's the system. He's supposed to push up. Like, I have never talked about, oh, why is he not back there kind of thing. My issue is when he is back there, right, and one give and go, and like Trent is out of the equation instantly, or he'll let people kind of like split him and the midfielder or the center back, whoever is coming over to help. Those are the issues that it's lack of focus, like you're saying, like losing your guy in a situation like that is losing. Or how many times has he lost the guy in the back post from a cross coming from like Robo's side and stuff like that? So that's, Brian says, unfortunately, I think Trent's defending will be a major problem next year. And, I mean, we're talking before the game. Like, Walker, I don't consider Walker a great defender either. He's one of those guys who's so fast that he can kind of make up his bad positioning. Trent is not as gifted with speed. So if he's out of position, he's kind of like SOL. He doesn't have that makeup speed. He's not slow. Actually, I feel like Trent is almost faster with the ball than like sprinting back somehow, because he can move, which is another skill, by the way, that like with dribble, he's really fast. I mean, we were talking before then, like Roberto Carlos, who played for Real, who played for Fenerbahce at one point. I mean, he was more known for going forward, but again, he was a ridiculously fast dude who could kind of get back and like cover up. I mean, players are gonna have deficiencies, but what do you guys think? Yeah, I saw that yesterday, to the point where I was like, is he playing midfield? Like, what is he doing? Like, where is he? Because I had just tuned in and I saw him play left back. And I kind of assumed that was against Finland's defending was not going to be a concern anyway, but they wanted his creativity to break him down, you think?
It's a great question. I had no idea that he played left back yesterday. So
there goes that. Yeah, he did play left back. Like I say that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you didn't watch the game, you would not assume or even think that he played left back. But I thought, like, how like after a corner kick it's reversed for a little. I'm like, is he ever going to go back there? We're watching with Angel. We're like, what is he playing? And then it was like, holy shit, I think he's left back. And yeah, I kind of took that as we don't have to worry about. I guess this says a lot about England. Is there no left back left to be able to give a little bit of creativity and still actually play left back?
That is the way that Connor Bradley and Trent were going to play together all along.
Oh, no. About him playing. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was kind of like a weird audio. But international break, these things. Van Dijk got the red card, so he's coming home early. I wish we did what's like City A, Real are doing, coming up with some bogus like injuries, like he has a knock and stuff like that, and staying behind. You kind of like see more and more international players doing that. Roy Hodgson had Roberto Carlos at Inter Milan. He basically forced him to leave. Yes, I can only imagine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Roberto Carlos was something, man. Good old days. What are we talking? 80s? 80s and 90s? You don't even remember. You're like, who was
Roberto
this?
Carlos, no, it was like late 90s. What are you talking about? 90s to the early 2000s. Why are you going back so much?
Is he 90s?
He's part of the Galacticos. No?
See, I feel like, why do I think like I saw him in the 86 or 90 World Cup? God, as you get older, all these things are starting to blend into each other.
I can't believe that I have a better memory of this right now than you.
You're freaking younger, bro. Like, you should have a better memory.
Psh.
Your hard drive is a lot smaller, the amount of information. I really have to dig through a lot of stuff. I need a lot of RAM to get to the information stored in this thing.
He played at Fenerbahce in 2010. That's not that long ago.
See, I thought that was early 2000s, so I kind of put that at 80s, 90s. Okay, 2010 is when he played for Fenerbahce?
Yeah, so he played at Real from 97, 2007 for about 10 years. And then at Fenerbahce for 3 years, from 7 to 2010.
Man, what a team that was, by the way. That's a team that beat Chelsea and stuff like that, and then got a stupid own goal to kind of lose. They were almost in the semifinals, I think, of the Champions League. Roberto Carlos, Alex. They had like a Brazilian core with some like Turkish national team players around them. And yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. Yes, I saw this, by the way. This is a good story. Talking about bullshit excuses people are going back for. It's not only Pulisic. I think there's a couple of other players were sent back for load management, NBA style, if you will. They were like, you're playing too much. You should go back. And here is my thing. We were actually on Friday. Kazi was ripping McAllister to shreds for going to the Argentinian camp and stuff like that. Is it just me that would take it? Okay, you don't have to play, right? But as a captain, you should keep your ass over there with the team and not go back to Italy. Or am I like reading too much into it? I want my fucking captain there. And that's why, like, you know, my argument was with McAllister. I don't care, like, as long as he doesn't play, him being there. Because as a captain, as a vice captain,
yeah,
your ass should be there with the rest of the team. Because this is not just like a once in a blue. This is not a tournament. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be an ongoing thing, qualifiers, blah, blah, blah. Right. I mean, as Turkey, like, I want Hakan over there. I don't want Hakan Çalhanoğlu saying, man, Milan's schedule is rough. I gotta go. We're like, fuck you. Like, you're the captain. Stay over. You don't have to play or come in and play 10 minutes at the end or something like that. But I want you to be there, captain and leading. Is that too much to ask?
I guess we don't know the extent of the conversation between Pochettino and Pulisic, because Pulisic, maybe he wanted to stay, and Poch was like, hey, I mean, if you're not going to play or I'm not going to use you, then you don't really need to be here. So we don't know if that's the kind of conversation they may have had. But I know, so I just looked it up. So it's Fossey, McKennie, Pepe, Pulisic, and Zach Steffen returned to their clubs. I think some of those Ryan mentioned were due to minor injuries.
Yeah, I mean, keyword minor injuries, like his nose is running and he has a sore throat, you know, things like that. He's a little rough, like sore.
And I get what you're saying.
Back, Sir Z says, which I saw that with the red card and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe, like I say, I might be too demanding on my national team players than others. I would rather like have them stay with the team. Ryan says, no problem missing a meaningless friendly. I mean, here's the thing, especially with the U.S., they don't have World Cup qualifying.
Right.
So this is them getting ready for the World Cup. That's going to be hosted in their own country. So
with a new manager
there.
Yeah, with a new manager, with trying to get that set up. And yeah, I don't disagree with you that I wouldn't want him to stay, but I could also don't know the extent of what those conversations were like. I think Pulisic knows that sometimes he's on borrowed time until the next injury, unfortunately. So maybe it's one of those things where he's just having such a great season at AC Milan that, you know, he doesn't want to set back in a friendly from the national team to hurt him in any way. So yeah, but it is The thing is, it's a friendly, but it is against Mexico, and I feel like the U.S. team does take games against Mexico very seriously, whether it's a friendly or not. Like they're always going to be some of the most heated games between teams, at least in this region, in this area. And you know, as an American, and seeing how the U.S. has played against Mexico in the last 2 decades, you'd want them to be there, or you'd want yourself to be there to try and win against Mexico. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's interesting. Maybe Pochettino doesn't see him as his long-term captain. I don't know. That could be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think it just makes it the new manager thing is like a good deal, and it could be one of those. I think it's the same thing with Van Dijk, right? Like, you know, they are being, they're like, hey, I'll say I sent you home, so you don't look bad. Like, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like Van Dijk, you know what? I'll tell you. We'll say that I sent you home, so that it doesn't look as bad as you going home and stuff like that. I'll say you really wanted to. I just didn't let you. I'm just not buying it. For some players, these friendlies are auditions. Pulisic doesn't need to, and I get that. But like I say, I just don't see why you're. And I thought he was the. Oh wait, U.S. is doing this thing like we're like a rec team, isn't it? Like they're rotating the captaincy.
Dude, I don't know.
We talked
I wish
about
I
this
knew.
before. I don't know, like any US fan will can tell. We kind of discussed this before, I thought, way back on a morning show where US had the setup where I mean, I don't know, this must be the triple G's. But it could be like it could have changed now with Pochettino, but like what is this comedy? This is not a U10 team kind of deal. But yeah, they were changing captains every segment or whatever, like every little tournament or every like break kind of a deal. If anybody, yeah, if anybody's following this, if you can guys confirm that, because I remember like reading about this and discussing this. But so here's like, I mean, obviously we don't have a lot of stories, but this is a good one right here. So let's talk about this.
We're talking about the rotation of the U.S. men's national team captains. There really isn't much to talk about, you guys.
Okay, so this story like literally just came out as we were like talking about, hey, like there's not a lot going on in news kind of a deal. So this is the Nigerian team hanging out at the airports. Well, welcome to my world, damn it. But anyway, they're hanging out there for 12 hours in Libya. They had no access to food or drinks. So I don't know about the Libya airports. I mean, it doesn't look too brutal on these pictures over here, but are there other? There's some footage over there. Looks like, hey, somebody brought food. See, he has food. What are they talking about? He's passing out something, selling. Maybe they have to. They're pissed that they have to pay for it. But so yeah, they were there. But then, of course, the word is this was more like a retaliation for what happened to the Libya team. And I was literally just thinking, in some ways, I was like, man, I wish this was Friday, because I mean, we talked about, yes, see, Trevor says get Anan on the case. And I was like, where is Anan when you freaking need him, when we need his Arab background? Because, you know, he's half Libya. So, like, actually, he follows and watches, like, the Libya games and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, where is he at? And I scrolled down because, obviously, we follow him. Anan had already commented on Fabrizio. So Anan says, and hopefully maybe if he's watching, he can comment on, heck, even, like, jump on, but horrible to see, but just a reminder that the Nigerian government did the same to the Libyan team last game, kept them at the airport for 8.5 hours, didn't allow them to leave till the embassy got involved. But of course, Fabrizio didn't get paid to report it. But then you said there was an alternate story coming from probably the Nigerian side of that, Nigeria's side of that, where they said, well, the Libyans flew into the wrong airport.
Yeah, they decided to fly into a different airport to save money because it was closer. And the Nigerian FA actually even offered to send buses, and the Libyan team declined. So, yeah, I mean, we know there's always 3 sides to every story, right? Both sides and then the truth. So will we ever get to know the truth? Maybe. I don't know. But, you know, it's either way. I think the most important thing that needs to come from this is the resolution of what happens after. Because if this could set a dangerous precedent for how games get decided. Let's say if Nigeria has to forfeit, what's stopping? I mean, they did have to forfeit. What's stopping the next team from having some terminal airport issues, and the other team couldn't make it out. Like this is taking parking the bus to an extreme. This is parking the plane. Like it is getting ridiculous. So I don't know if what we see now is going to affect, like in short term, what this will affect. It's going to be important to see how it affects everything long term. Because I think I did mention before we went on air, I think there was this, if anyone remembers better than I do, a Switzerland-Ukraine situation in 2020 where Switzerland had gone to Ukraine. They lost 2-1, so they needed to win on the return leg. And then there was something going on in the Swiss airport that did not allow the Ukrainians to leave the airport, and the Ukrainians had to forfeit, and the Swiss got a 3-0 win, and they got to advance. I don't know exactly that. I mean, I feel like it's more information I remember than I probably should remember.
What happened there, young guy? I remember everything.
I didn't say I remember everything. I'm just so shocked that you thought Carlos was in the 80s. So yeah, that's where I'm at. We need to have a serious conversation about what this means long term and how transportation gets taken care of in the future, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, they did make a statement saying they're not going to play the game. And yes, in what you're saying, I know what you mean, because then they were like, yes, so if we got to get these guys, and this shit happens all the time. I know it happens at the club level, just not to this extreme. I mean, I know it has happened to Fenerbahce where they go, it's a plane coming from like Turkey, blah, blah, blah. And then like security is a lot more. I mean, if you're ever, I mean, I remember, and, it was kind of, I didn't care, but I know a lot of people were offended. That like when a plane from Istanbul landed in London, and this is like when I was going to college in London and stuff like that, on your way in, you got sniffed around by a bunch of dogs. Like you had to parade, the Turkish plane had to parade through the dog corridor. And if you came from like, I don't know, Switzerland, and you didn't. So I know like people were, I'm like, I don't care because I'm not carrying drugs. They can sniff me all freaking day. So, but like stuff like that happens where like the Turkish team would go there, would face more difficulties than everybody else, passport, blah, blah, blah. So when they come back for the away leg, they try to do the same thing. I mean, we've heard of like cases where they throw off fireworks next to the opposing team's hotel and stuff like that. Like some of this stuff does happen, but this is kind of like an extreme where they're keeping them for like, it says like over 12 hours. I guess the thing I don't understand is the no access to food or drink thing. Because then it looks intentional. Like it's one thing to have a difficulty, first of all, a couple of hours. But then, you're like, oh, sorry about this, guys. It's really jacked up. His thing doesn't scan. So like we're doing this kind of a deal. And then kind of like, at least we're like, would you guys like something to eat while we're waiting or something like that? So this looks over the top intentional,
like literally a wing or a terminal of the airport being closed and nothing being accessible, and any food or water they may have had was on the plane, right? And they can't get into the plane potentially. So when you're already off the tarmac, or I mean, every airports all operate differently, but for the most part, if you're off the tarmac, you're not gonna be able to get back out into the plane to go grab whatever is sitting in the cabin. So it feels intentional. I understand the frustration from the Libyan side of things. If the return fixture was also similarly, what's the word I'm looking for? Similarly designed.
I'm just gonna let you suffer through it. I love doing this.
Similarly designed to make them feel worse, or to make a worse situation. But yeah, I don't quite know which. You can only see what we see and believe what we believe, right? I mean, so
just to make it worse, they offered me a ham sandwich.
That sounds quite American.
Well, I mean, I'm not that religious, so joke's on them. I would eat the ham sandwich and ask for seconds, but the joke's on them if they're going to be offering me like ham sandwich and stuff like that. Hey, Richard is in the house. And we're talking football and soccer and everything. Okay, so yeah, would be like interesting to find out Anand's kind of like insight to this. Obviously, Anan is probably going to have a little bias to himself as well, because
No,
like a little. But yeah,
Anon,
on like
never.
Friday, that'll be interesting to like to hear his side from him. That was funny because I thought about Anan instantly because we actually on talked on Friday's show. He was talking about like Libya games and stuff like that, how bad they are and stuff. And then I see his comment right underneath it. I was like, he's on it.
And that's part of why I find it so weird that the Nigerians would take it so far to have to make it difficult for the Libyans to get in for a game when they are not good. It's just like the other side of it makes sense. The Nigerians are very good, right? And Libya needs to get as many points as possible. So that makes sense. But the other way around, it just doesn't make sense for the Nigerians to go through the headaches and the hassle and the potential like downfall of opinion for what they did just to get a point against Libya. It just doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those like more like spite things than anything else. Like, hey, the Libyans called. They're at this airport. They need to be picked up. We're like, who the fuck told them to go there? They were supposed to land over here. Like, let them wait then, kind of. I mean, that's like kind of like what I envision happening in the background there. But yeah, it's weird because here's the thing: like the players are refusing to play, and I understand that they want to get attention to it because I'm sure it's against a bunch of like different laws and violations and stuff like that. But at the same time, isn't this hurting Nigeria more than Libya for them not showing up unless the crooked FIFA comes in and kind of like imposes some stuff, or CAF is like their UFA kind of a deal. But yeah, I understand why they wouldn't want to play after that misery. But it's almost like, wouldn't you want to play and beat the shit out of them, knowing that?
Yeah, show up and just kick the shit out of them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I that's how I would feel as well. So that's why
Like
I
this
think
me with no sleep.
just imagine if I had a good rest on a nice cozy bed instead of these airport seats. I swear to God.
I mean, Nigerians can probably be just eating the sandwiches, walking around on playing, and we'll still beat them. I don't know how bad Libya is. I'm going by what Anand says. Anand says Libya is really bad, so I'm just going off of what he says. Richard says Liverpool versus Chelsea. Yes, that's like a huge, huge game coming up, by the way, to come back into. Any worries about that? That is after the international break? Because I was like,
yeah. Always. And especially given it's against a Chelsea team that, defensively are weak. There are holes that you can attack, but going forward, they're not going to be the short on chances. They're going to be able to create a ton of chances, and it'll be really interesting to see how the back four lines up against Palmer and Jackson, Madueke. Like I feel like they have a really good thing going right now, and as soon as they shore up some of those defensive holes and the setbacks, I think they're going to be a pretty tough team to beat. So I think just like last year, we talked about the draw at Stamford Bridge, being a really good result at the beginning of the season. When we look back, it wasn't such a great result, but it was good to play them early. This is still somewhat early, right? You're still in October. So you try and take what you can get. But I'm not going to go into this thinking that it's going to be a win. I'm probably going for like a 2-2 kind of situation.
Really? I mean, so you're obviously saying a high scoring affair based on.
Yeah. I think players are going to be tired. And I think when players are tired and you have the attacking, because when you compare both teams going forward, there's a lot of attacking threat. And I feel like both defenses are just going to be a bit tired. So that's why I'm looking at a 2-2 kind of thing.
I mean, the only thing is that, and that's why we want to see, right? I mean, like for Chelsea right now, we're saying, they're great going forward, but they suck defensively. But I mean, the assumption is they'll improve defensively, but are they so good going forward? Because one of those guys are not tracking back or not doing any of the defensive work. So they're really fresh going forward. Like to fix the defense, do you have to sacrifice from offense? Because it doesn't like work like that where they can be like, let's just get better back here and keep the front. So like, what is that ratio going to be? Is the front totally going to drop off because of that or what? But especially like based on their players and stuff, that should be a game that I know I'm worried about, but similar to Ryan. I mean, not just about football, everything. Yeah, I worry as a
lifestyle.
Yeah, that's my thing. Worry as a lifestyle.
Can we get a shirt, an American Scouser shirt that just says "I worry as a lifestyle" with the American Scouser logo, and then maybe your name somewhere? Because I think that would be a hot seller.
You know what? I'll get on that today because I got, like half a day of work. So I'll design a shirt for you. Oh, we should do like a shirt design contest, and the winner gets it for free. But yes, I worry is a lifestyle. I would wear that. I would have an entire closet like Superman, where everything,
in
everything.
different colors. Let's see. How am I worrying today? Am I worrying in black or in red? Oh, I'm feeling a little green. Maybe I'll just. I'm feeling a little sick. Gonna put my green worry on.
Yeah, that's gonna be. That's a Sunday game, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
thankfully.
gonna be like the interesting one there. So, but yeah, so few scheduling changes right here. Let me announce those before we go. No Monday night crew tonight. Scheduling and obviously international break, all that kind of good stuff. But so we are not recording tonight live. The panel should be back tomorrow night, Wednesday morning. Obviously, the Thursday podcast and Friday morning are still on. I think I'll be out of action for a few days over here, but John is hosting the Wednesday morning show. And this just in, Gally is hosting the Friday show with the Reckless Crew, where we can get the story about Libya and Nigeria and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they're going to talk more about Chelsea than that because it's not Monday where we kind of like go out of the pocket scrambling. Which, by the way, the Bears were in London.
Yes, they were. And Caleb Williams had a nice little scramble himself. It's kind of weird to see a competent quarterback playing for the Chicago Bears because I think it's been 70 years. Just kidding. Jay Cutler was probably the last competent quarterback that I think Jay Cutler got way too much shit when he was in Chicago. I think he was actually the best quarterback that the Bears have had in probably the last 40 years.
I think it's because he always looked like a douchebag.
Yeah, but but it was one of those like
attitude, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
his approach to media and stuff.
right. But I think I loved the way that he would walk around looking like he just ate a bunch of burgers. It's never worked out, but he's gonna fling the ball 40 times for 300 yards, like no problem. So yeah, it's one of those things where he got a lot of undeserved shit. He played through a bad injury, and he still wasn't respected by Bears fans. And but at least now everyone's excited. I think we still have to remember that rookie quarterbacks are rookie quarterbacks, and we can't expect Caleb Williams to be the best thing in the world after week 6. But the signs are there. I don't know if you saw. Did you watch any of the game in London at all? No. There was a specific play design that was really cool. It was a fake double screen. So he pumped to the left, pumped to the right, and then Komet had a touchdown.
We've done that with
37-yard touchdown
against up the middle.
Yeah. It's a great play design, and it worked really well. So that was nice. So yeah, the signs are there. I mean, they played the Jaguars, who are fucking awful.
I hate to say it, man. I'm not a Bears fan anyway, but I find Caleb very easy to root against.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The guy is
jerk.
He's not a jerk.
He's a jerk.
He's arrogant.
His entire college career and demeanor is oozing with jerkness.
See, this is me now trying to defend him from a Chicago point of view. Like, no, he's actually a guy. I swear, he's a really nice guy.
Misunderstood.
No, it's like Jay. He was just a real nice guy. The media painted him bad. I can understand the dislike for Caleb Williams, and you know what? I hope it turns into like a Patrick Mahomes thing where everyone hates him because they're winning too much, and that would be the best. That would be the best thing.
Yes, actually, 49ers play him next. We turn it into an NFL show. So, what is the plan for the rest of the day? Are we celebrating? Which day are we celebrating? Are we celebrating anything?
Grooming day for me. Let's see. And Michelle and I are very close to being finished with all of our house light renovation, all the packing. So staging the photos are happening Wednesday. And
I thought the photos already happened. Oh, you guys are still patching holes? What are you doing? Going around like punching walls in the house or what?
These Liverpool games, they take a lot out of me, man. You don't want to see me.
Godzilla game 2022. This is
Oh, are you talking about the 7-1?
No, I don't remember.
Or the 7-2,
what year was
whatever
that?
it was. Yeah, I think it was actually no, it was like 2020. I think it was late
I think it's
2020.
2020 or 2021.
Yeah, because I remember I went to visit some old college friends in Des Moines, and we went to the Liverpool bar, and I was like, "Hey guys, it's gonna be an amazing time. Let's go to the Liverpool bar." And they proceeded to sit there for 90 minutes and just pretty much laugh in my face. So that was great. But yeah, that was a rough game. But anyway,
that was like very Twilight Zone-ish game, especially for the team, the way the team was. But hey, sometimes those losses, and I think where was I? Like somebody was talking about like how the loss against Forest, in some ways, maybe we're trying to find a silver lining, but could have been like a better thing than this team going full force, and then like so that the hype is not as much. It's still very low key, but I think if we continue this form, come next international break, the hype is going to be out of control.
oh yeah,
because this is like a really, really rough patch, and
bouncing off walls.
Yeah. Oh, was that? I thought Van Dijk was there though that game. Wasn't Van Dijk in the 7-2 game? Now we have to go to the archives.
October 4th, 2020. It was Van Dijk. Yeah, it was Robbo, Van Dijk, Gomez. It was Adrian, Robbo, Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent.
Adrian. And honestly, everybody gave shit to Adrian, but he was not really like that bad. It was just like constantly 1v1, 1v1. I remember Van Dijk being there because he was. It was like a Twilight Zone out of body experience for us, and it looked like for them as well. Oh, the game before. Okay, see, I don't remember. That was a rough season overall. But okay, sorry. So what are you doing Monday?
That's finishing up the things. I would do some outside work to make it look nice and pretty outside as well. And yeah, it's gonna take us most of the day. So
have fun with that. Doesn't sound like a day off, but sure, why not?
Hasn't been a day
off. Like a half a day of work over here, and then Turkey plays in the afternoon. Fire alarm. Oh, yeah, you better fix that shit.
I'm dying of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yes, if you were looking to buy Mateusz's house, you might want to go there.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. What is going on? Please stop. Please.
Okay.
Stop.
On that note,
goodbye, everyone.
Last time you guys are seeing Mateusz, say goodbye as he dies from carbon monoxide poisoning, and then hopefully everybody will be alive tomorrow night for the panel show. We'll see you guys then. Take care.